Should NBA teams tank for Zion?
Yes, they should. Now, I want to be very, very clear with what I'm about to say.
Okay.
First of all, Zion Williamson, he's just an absolute freak of nature. He's about 6'6", 6'7". He's got like a 46, 47-inch vertical leap. He can jump out the gym. He can handle the ball for his size. He's about 285 pounds. He's a man amongst boys. I mean, this guy is a physical freak of nature. The last time we talked about somebody in terms of physicality and physical prowess, Max, was LeBron James. And then when you take that into account and you see his game, and by the way, I'm not so sure he doesn't have a perimeter game. He only shoots 28% from three-point range. But I've seen him hit a few jumpers this year. He hit 3 or 4 threes last night. Let's be clear. The guy got a handle. He can pass. He can get to the hole. Again, he's a big boy. And he's aggressive, and the energy is always there. When you look at the NBA, you got 4 teams that's basically going to be vying for him. You got the Chicago Bulls. You got the New York Knicks. That's 2 of the top 5 major markets. You got the Cleveland Cavaliers, which obviously just lost LeBron. And you got the Pheonix Suns. Those are basically the teams that we're talking about. They're going to be the 4 worst teams in the NBA in all likelihood this season because of what you need in New York or Chicago, because of Cleveland being the market that just lost LeBron. Ain't think about Phoenix right now. It's really about those 3 teams. I love the idea. Now, I am not a supporter normally like some people I know and I'm looking at that don't mind tanking because it's the process,
Right.
Trust the process. And it could go to 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. I'm talking 1. Meaning, and not even 1, like this half of the season, the rest of the season is already 30 games in, okay?
Targeted tanking.
Targeted tanking.
Right.
I don't mind that. It's just the second half of this season. I mean, you ain't going anywhere. Your season's already over in terms of playoff possibilities. I'm talking that kind of stuff I don't mind. I've seen it many times in the past. It does not affect me, Max. What affects me is the process.
Okay, well, I would say this. When you can target your tanking, that's because you have what you believe is a generational or else a surefire, no doubt, sure bet draft pick who can change the fortunes of your franchise.
Cool.
If that guy is available, there's no reason to tank year after year after year, hoping to acquire enough assets that one of them will pan out. If you're like, oh, that's LeBron James, we want him number 1 overall. Mm-hmm. The question is Zion Williamson one of those guys? And I believe he is, but not necessarily because it's a slam dunk, so to speak, that he is going to be an MVP caliber player, the best player on a championship team or dynasty. I don't know if he will be. I'm rooting for him. I hope so. If he is, it'll be something we haven't seen before.
I think he has a chance.
Because usually guys who are built like Zion, who is built like Zion with his athletic ability, right?
Right.
But if you take comps, guys who reminded you of him coming into the league because of their athletic ability, their size, their frame, in certain ways their game, the one that comes closest to me is Blake Griffin, where when you saw Blake turn pro, after the injury season, you're like, oh my God, this guy can jump out of the gym. Okay. He can do some things guys of his size can't normally do, or who play his position can't normally do, including ball handle a bit and set teammates up a bit and all that kind of stuff. But he wasn't built like a rim defender. He wasn't a long kind of two-way wing type player, the kind of player that usually winds up the best player in the game. Obviously Jordan or LeBron or Kobe or someone like KD or Kawhi, the kind of player you want to build your franchise around. Not quite that. And if anything, Zion reminds me more of Blake than the guys I just mentioned in terms of the way he's built, in terms of his ability to shoot from the perimeter. Not that he can't shoot, but he ain't knocking them down at an acceptable rate yet. But because of the things I said he can do, because of his unbelievable physical prowess, and because he's going to be box office, as you would say, and is willing to work on his game, wants to get better and all those things, I would say, yes, he rises to the level of a player where a team like the Knicks should say, you know what, we're packing it in this year. They pack it in every year, but on purpose in order to get him.
The Knicks and Chicago are the 2 teams that should be targeting him. Let's face reality. Let's just call it what it is. Look, we're proud of the NBA brand. The NBA is an iconic global brand. I think they've been more successful than almost anybody in terms of globalizing its sport, certainly in the United States of America, and they deserve to be given a boatload of credit for that. But there's just something missing. when the major markets ain't relevant. Right now, I got to admit, and listen, this is like veering a little bit left from the subject. I'm sick and tired. A native New Yorker, lifelong diehard New York Knicks fan, covering the NBA for 25 years. Let me be very, very clear. I'm sick and tired of us talking about the Knicks and ignoring the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets, when they won this weekend, would be, if the players were to begin, they would be the 8th seed. They have no names on their squad other than Dinwiddie, and you just remember it because it's an awkward name. But the brother can play.
Yeah,
but the brother can play. And Allen, this kid's a shot block. I mean, they got some cats that can ball. Plus, they got space for not one but two max players potentially this summer. The Brooklyn Nets are coming in terms of basketball in New York, and they deserve our credit.
Have the number one overall pick.
I understand they're going to have the number 1 overall pick. So if you're the New York Knicks, not only did I give you the incentive because you perpetually stink, not only did I give you incentive because it's Dolan in New York, not only did I give you incentive because it's Zion Williamson, but I'm also giving you incentive because the other team in New York is right now doing better than you, and their future is looking
Dolan
brighter than yours.
Dolan is such a bad owner of a franchise that not only will the Knicks not get Kevin Durant because of James Dolan's presence, is my prediction. But in addition to that, he recently made comments that his team will never tank. It's not fair to the paying customer, which is an idiotic statement to make.
No, he said also player development. It's not fair to the players. No, it wasn't just the customers.
Remember Seinfeld, George Costanza, he wanted, his instincts were all wrong, so he did the opposite of anything he thought, where people who go farther back, Little Big Man, Dustin Hoffman movie, General Custer used him as the reverse barometer, right? Here is what Dolan should do. Whatever he thinks he should do the opposite. If he wakes up in the morning, he wants coffee, order tea. Like the opposite. If he thinks it's a bad idea to tank for player development,
right.
James, how have your players developed in the last 25 years? What are you joking?
Well, here's what I would tell you.
Tank.
You're
doing it by accident anyway.